Meta, Twitter, and YouTube may be some of the biggest social media platforms on the planet, but let's not mince words. They have all done garbage things to their users. And it is so bad at times that if this were any other industry, these titans would probably be rotting in the history books. But the fact that everyone is still on social media, even with better social media options out there that are more data focused, has to make you wonder, why isn't decentralized social media building popularity the way that it should be? This is a really important question, and it's going to determine the future of the internet for the next 30 or 40 years. So I think we really need to get into this today. So today we're going to be talking about what's happening with decentralized social media, why it's not growing the way that it should be, and what's going to happen next in this space. My name is Trent Kennelly. I'm a Web3 marketing strategist, and this is the best place for you to learn about Web3, NFTs, AI, and how to market it all. So if that sounds good to you and you're excited, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're into it, comment to let me know what you're thinking about when it comes to transitioning to decentralized social media, what's holding you back, etc. I would love to know, and let's get started. So let's start by clearly understanding what is meant by decentralized social media. So I've talked about decentralized social media in a lot of detail in this video, but what we're talking about here are social media sources that specifically adopt decentralized concepts. So I'm not just talking about blockchain. I'm not just talking about coin adoption, though a lot of them do have those elements in them. I'm really talking about the ideas of individualism and an individual ownership, not necessarily of a platform, but of your data, of the information that is fed to you. So it's a way of having ownership over what you see, what you put out there in the world, who gets to have control over that. And there are a lot of platforms that claim to offer this sort of ownership. Many of them are decentralized replicas of popular platforms. A few good examples that we could briefly look at are Steemit, which is a Reddit replica, Mastodon, a Twitter replica, and DTube, a YouTube replica. All of them have potential, but none of them have gotten anywhere close to the same level of popularity as their centralized counterparts. Steemit has 4 to 5 million monthly active users, whereas Reddit has around 1.7 billion. Mastodon is a little harder to pin down, but it's somewhere around 1 million monthly active users versus 6.5 billion on Twitter. You kind of get the idea. There is an enormous difference between the centralized and decentralized services. So why is this happening? I mean, these big social networks have all treated your data like a cash grab machine, just capturing as much as they can and making boatloads off of it. People know this and people are sick of it, but they keep coming back over and over again. It's like a self-harming cycle. And I think the first reason for why people keep coming back is right there in that self-harming space: addiction. When you look at the history of platform changes, it's traditionally happened that one succeeds at the peril of another. So Friendster to MySpace, MySpace to Facebook, etc. It's because we stick to one platform unless the appeal of another is just too great to ignore. Now, that isn't always the case. Certainly, we're in a moment in history with an enormous amount of social media sites, and there are a good 5 that are popular still right now: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter/X. But it's undeniable that people tend to stick to one or two platforms. Most people don't create for YouTube and Instagram and TikTok uniquely unless they're posting the same content on all 3. They stick to a few that they really love, and they don't really want to leave them without feeling strongly compelled to do so, which leads us to looking again at those decentralized options. Do they offer anything different than Twitter or Facebook, or is it just another way to do the same thing, but with kind of a higher purpose attached? Mostly it's option B. Mastodon is Twitter, but harder to use, and DTube is YouTube, but harder to be a part of. We'll get to that harder part in just a minute. So if people are already addicted to the platform that they're on, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, etc., and there isn't anything new on that other new decentralized platform, why go through the hassle of changing? Is it really a greener pasture over there? The only answer for why people are going to change at this point is for the idealism. And most people don't change based on idealism alone. They're just not going to be peeled away based on idealism. Another big reason is fear and complexity. So as hard as you and I may have worked to build up decentralization as a good thing, many people just don't understand it. And the vast majority of people, when they don't understand something, feel afraid to take any action at all. But I mean, look, we could blame the community completely for this, and certainly the community is somewhat to blame because we're not explaining this well enough to get people to really come in without investing a lot of time to get it, right? But it is also specifically the fault of these platforms that we're referring to, these social media platforms. It's a well-established fact that if you want to drive action on your website, you need to make that action extremely simple to achieve. If you want people to join a Discord server like mine, which is super cool, you want it to be a button click. You don't want complexity. And with that said, let's just go ahead and take another look at Mastodon. So let's say that you want to join Mastodon, right? That's fantastic. One thing you need to understand, you're not actually joining Mastodon, the server, right? You're joining an amalgamation of social media platforms. See, Mastodon is actually a technology that provides servers for anybody who wants to build a community around a specific interest. So if you want to form a group around expats in Japan or marketing professionals or beekeeping, you can form your own community there, which is great in theory, but it also makes it very difficult to understand how to find your people if there isn't a server that meets your needs already. And it means that you have to figure out how to work this brand new decentralized system, which, by the way, if you're using the mobile app, you have to log out of and back into different Mastodon instances, and is such a hassle. And by the way, that's not better on other sites like DTube, where you have to buy into the ecosystem before you can do anything except watch videos. So post a video yourself, comment, like, etc. So right away, you can go look at the videos that they have to offer, but if you want to get involved, you have to be confident enough to buy their coin, which, by the way, you can almost never buy on their site, instead going to PancakeSwap to grab it, which is, in my opinion, never a good plan. Why would you send people away from your site? Is that going to pass this test? Are you increasing involvement in this way? Are you increasing that likelihood of people getting involved while reducing that difficulty and that friction? Definitely not. And the last big reason I think decentralized social media is still sputtering on the launch pad is mob mentality. So we tend to follow the will of the masses, and critical mass is a very important part of any social media instance. So basically what I'm saying is if nobody's there, nobody's going to want to be there. No new people are going to hang around if the place is dead. And right now, anybody who's interested in branching out is seeing the fact that there just isn't much movement in these decentralized spaces. But okay, some of you might be saying, yeah, but we don't want that huge critical mass. We kind of want to be our own insular community. And if that's the argument you want to make, I guess be on your way and have a nice life. But before you go, let's just be clear about the reason we're doing all of this in the first place. Is the idea in your head that decentralization is for me and not for thee? Because if that's your feeling, I think you've missed the point completely. Decentralization as a movement isn't just about you having ownership, right? This is a way to give everyone on the web a way to own their own data and their own actions online, which isn't just great for us personally, but for business in general. So if you want to help grow as a part of this space, you need to be thinking beyond yourself, and you should be trying to get as many people into the decentralized spaces as possible. So that said, is there any future here? And to that I say absolutely yes. While it is definitely true that most decentralized social media platforms have been pretty underwhelming, there is one that shows immense promise, and that is BlueSky. So BlueSky is, I believe, specifically what we're looking for to push decentralization forward. And the best part is it's getting way more attention than any of its predecessors. And the reason for this isn't necessarily because of its stance on data ownership. That's more or less standard at this point. It's actually because of who's backing it, Jack Dorsey. Now, if you're not familiar with him, Jack Dorsey is one of the co-founders of Twitter. So Jack is looking at the situation on the ground. He's looking at what he created with Twitter, and he's saying it's not good enough. Now, it's true that this is essentially looking like another Twitter clone, but there's hope that this could go a lot farther precisely because of Jack Dorsey himself as one of the minds behind Twitter in the first place, as somebody who understood how to push that business forward and make it very, very successful. I think there is a lot of hope kind of behind Jack himself. I guess we'll see once we get inside. I'm just hoping to get off the damn wait list soon. So there you go. This is a huge opportunity that is so far just completely wasted by the options that are out there today. I'm really hoping that Jack Dorsey can turn this one around with BlueSky. Let me know what you think about decentralized social media and the direction that it's going right now. I would love to get your take. Otherwise, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're into it, and I will catch you in the next one.